Hello and welcome to the 10th episode of the Real List podcast, a podcast about our real list. I think it's the 10th. I'm pretty sure it's the 10th.
Yes, because Afterlife was the 9th. I remember that specifically.
I'm your host, Ellis.
And I'm your host, Gloria.
And today we have a selection from me.
Actually, you and your dad.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He definitely wanted to see it, and then we got the free trial of Apple Plus because...
And then we ran out of it, and then you had to actually...
I made my own free trial, yeah. Well, point is...
We had a free trial.
Yeah, we watched this for free. This is Greyhound. Came out in early 2020. I'm pretty sure, maybe mid... Okay, yeah, that's right. It came out in mid-2020. I thought it came out a little earlier.
That's why it went right to Apple TV.
Yeah,
it wasn't in theaters.
It did not go to theaters because all the theaters were closed because the
COVID.
world was ending. This is directed by Aaron Schneider. The screenplay was written by Tom Hanks. It was based on a C.S. Forester novel. And Greyhound is a story of Tom Hanks' first naval command on a battleship. On a destroyer, not a battleship. On a destroyer as part of convoy, I think HX-25, crossing the Atlantic and going through what they call the Black Pit, which I hadn't ever heard it referred to as that, but it was the space in between air cover. So, as my dad was trying to explain to Claire while the four of us are watching the movie, the planes only have a certain range from air bases in the United States and air bases in the United Kingdom, and there's a space in the middle where you have no air cover. And air cover is really important, or really helpful in finding and sinking U-boats. If you've ever played Hearts of Iron and got screwed over by naval bombers while your subs are just tooling around, you'll understand. But the other fun aspect of that is there was actually a naval battle against a U-boat right off the coast of Point Judith, where the Block Island Ferry docks in Rhode Island.
I don't know what the Block Ferry is.
It's like at the end of Narragansett Bay, basically not too far from the beach house. There was the Battle of Point Judith, I think. And it was like planes, blimps, and destroyers against one submarine. They eventually sunk it. It lasted like most of a day. It was ridiculous.
You're bringing out blimps?
The Navy had a lot of blimps. And they
were
actually
the sports
the Goodyear blimps, yes.
Okay. I thought you meant like the little ones that you go up in and surprise your girlfriend with. Like, oh, look at this. Like,
you mean like a hot air balloon?
Yeah.
No.
I think they're blimps. I consider them as a blimp, kind of.
Technically they're a non-rigid airship, but I wouldn't really call them an air. They're not an airship because they can't decide where they go. They don't have like propulsion on them. If you ever go up in a hot air balloon, you're just sort of at the mercy of the wind, and you'll come down somewhere.
Please never take me into one of those.
I would love to. I've done it once before in my life. I would love to do it again.
Please don't.
Yes,
make me
let's do a hot air balloon.
No,
guys,
no.
comment saying that you want Gloria to go in a hot air balloon.
I will die. I will die.
So yeah, this is Tom Hanks' first naval command. It's a destroyer command. I said battleship earlier, and I'm going to be embarrassed by that for the rest of my life, because all the other Navy folks in the chat are going to be like, it's not a battleship, you idiot! I just misspoke, okay? Meanwhile, I thought the call sign Eagle, because there were a couple other destroyers in the convoy. There's 37 Allied ships. Most of those are various freighters and tankers, and I think there's one troop ship, at least. And then there are a couple other destroyers. I thought they were all UK, but it's a Tribal-class British destroyer, a Canadian Flower-class escort, which is Dickey, and the Grom-class destroyer Victor, which is call sign Eagle, and I thought it was HMS Eagle, which is a Flower-class corvette, I believe. Or a frigate of some kind. I can't recall, but it's a very small ship. I didn't realize it was a Polish ship. I must have missed that, and that's really cool looking back, and also even more tragic that that's the ship that got sunk. The Polish had like a handful of destroyers when they got invaded, and then they went to the UK and operated out of the United Kingdom for the rest of the war. One of them, I believe, took place, or one was around during the sinking of the Bismarck just flashing with its signal light, "I am a Pole," at the German ship, just to piss them off, I guess. I think that was one of the, I think that was the final sinking of the Bismarck. But either way, the movie itself is, I think, a really great, just sort of cross-section of what these convoys dealt with. And to that point, it is incredibly accurate, to, at least from my point of view, from my knowledge. I remember saying a couple of times, wow, they did their homework. Because the commands they're giving, the way they're communicating between the ships, the way that they're fighting is, it's very, very detailed. They really cared about getting that stuff right, or at least making it feel immersive. Now, there are a few things missing from the film, namely, like, interesting characters, but that's not what you come here for, I think. You know, this is the movie I wanted to watch with my dad because I wanted to experience this. He had a particular statement about the movie midway when it came out, which is like, I watched World War II movies all my life growing up, and they were mostly old things with, like, mediocre practical effects and, you know, black and white. And finally, when you get to see something like that with modern effects on the big screen, or even not on the big screen, just with all the modern fixings, it presents a much more immersive world, and you get to see this stuff in a I don't know, better, for lack of a better word. It's like game graphics, you know, they don't matter to a point. You can enjoy the gameplay, but better graphics does make things better.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here listening to you talk about this movie that you wanted to watch with your dad. I think it's nice. I mean, I don't, watch war movies. I've only watched a couple with you, but, like, it was a good movie. Like, I'm not gonna say it wasn't.
Were you entertained?
I was entertained. I got Tom Hanks.
Yeah, that's, I think, why Claire came as well. Although, she didn't know what she was getting into because she heard the name Greyhound and thought it was either about a dog or a bus.
I mean, yeah. But
which is pretty funny.
See, the thing is, though, I had background context because I've seen the commercials so many goddamn times. When I was living at home with my dad on Hulu, we had ads.
That better not be your mom here already.
No.
Okay.
She said she was going to text me.
Okay. Lafayette, shut up.
There's people across the street doing work.
Okay. Anyway, you were saying.
But, like, when I was living at home, Hulu would just play. Hulu would be like, we'll give you this entire show for if we can play, like, a 5-minute clip, 5-minute trailer from Greyhound. And I'm like, fuck! Not again! This is the 5th time I've seen this already! And it wouldn't be a different one. It'd be the same exact motherfucking one.
What part of the movie was it? Or was it just like a trailer?
It was like a it was like a snippet from the movie. It was the big battle scene, like a 5-minute snippet from the battle scene.
At the end, like the climax, or like the first?
Like the first.
The first engagement. That was really cool. And yeah, I'll come back to it. That I really enjoyed how realistic that it, everything was, and. Oh, man, what was... I was going to jump onto something really quick, although you said about the war movies, and I wanted to say that I mentioned that 1917 was on our list, and I think it was Tyler was like, yes, and I was like, oh, we'll have to make an episode on that at some point, yes, and...
I'd have to watch that again, because I really was not paying attention.
No, I know. I would like to watch it again, too. Well, at least we own it.
Yeah, I'm willing to watch it again.
For me?
For you. For the viewers.
For the content.
For the content.
Anyway, so that and East, I mentioned to him that we need to make an episode on My Neighbor Totoro. Because that I haven't seen, and we have all the Miyazaki films.
I've never seen it either, so...
Really?
Yeah, I've only seen Spirited Away.
Okay. Yeah,
and Ponyo.
We need to watch... My favorite of those is Howl's Moving Castle, but... Anyway,
that's also on the list.
That is also on the list. I put that one up there. So, The thing that I found unrealistic or just sort of silly was the U-boat captain taunting them. I guess it makes sense because if they figured out the radio frequency that the ships were using to communicate, they could just broadcast on that frequency. But it's not something that I would wager you would want to do because it would probably give your position away. And on top of that, it just seems pointless. You don't necessarily, in wartime, unless there's no downside whatsoever or you're already screwed, you don't go and taunt your enemy. And you definitely don't tell them, like, hey, we're going to mess you up before you get to air cover. We're going to do it tonight. Get ready. You don't do that.
Yeah, because when you have a ship full of people and they're like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, the morale aspect is one thing, I guess, if you're just trying to, like, shake them, which I could understand being shaken. From the trailers, I had gathered that the sub-commander had a personal beef with Tom Hanks. Which I don't know if there's a person alive that has a personal beef with Tom Hanks, but, come on, he's Tom Hanks.
Maybe they were smashing the same girl.
Oh, that's why she said no.
That's why she said she wouldn't meet him in Florida.
Because she was busy getting hammered on a submarine. Well, hammered and railed. Anyway. I was trying to make a joke. I was trying to come up with a joke about let me be your U-boat and get down in your ocean or something. Anyway. But
nice try though.
So yeah, that was one of the things that took me out of it a little bit. And the other thing was I guess they tried to add some characterization, some motivation, some obligatory Hollywood love story. It's like we meet the girl for 2 minutes at the beginning.
They're giving each other Christmas presents.
Yeah, and he gets a little destroyer that he keeps with him the whole time, and they focus in on it a couple of times to like.
And the slippers.
Oh yeah, the uncomfortable slippers.
The uncomfortable looking slippers. Those slippers look so uncomfortable. Weren't they like embroidered with his like initials on them?
I don't know. They were fancy, but they didn't look comfy at all. And speaking of people who got a raw deal during the movie, because he got turned down when he asked her to marry him, basically, Cleveland, the ship's cook, just keeps trying.
Poor man.
He keeps trying to feed him.
He keeps trying to feed his captain. He's like, "You need to eat," and Tom Hanks is like, "Coffee."
Yeah.
Coffee.
Well, and every time that he like gets the opportunity to eat, something happens. Distress flares go off, or like someone fires a torpedo at them, or whatever. Hi. And you really feel for them, and you get to wonder, like, okay, it's been 3 days. Has he eaten the sandwich? Has he had anything? Other than coffee, which he keeps dropping and breaking the glass, or the mug, because they have to evade torpedoes and stuff.
They must have a lot of plateware on there. A lot of cutlery.
Yeah. This guy's a mess attendant. Oh, that's right, and he dies. Cleveland dies during remember when the bridge gets shot up? That's such a blink and you'll miss it moment. That the end of that whole sequence, I think I was distracted doing something as well, but the end of that battle sequence, yeah, Cleveland is one of the ones that they have to do a burial at sea for, and then they break radio silence, which is a notable thing, and yeah, I don't know, It is an interesting film. It is like a 90% action sequence. Mm-hmm. It is, you get the little beginning set up with the girl and the gift giving, and then you cut basically straight to, okay, they're in the black pit. This is how much time until they get out of it. And I really actually did like that aspect. You have that countdown to safety that keeps coming up. And the moment stop it. The moment they're out of it, the movie's basically over. The destroyers get replaced by another set to finish the escort of the convoy, and they go off to Liverpool to or wherever it was Derry, to get refitted and repaired and refueled and everything. They use a lot of depth charges over the course of the film, and it's made mention, or the fact that they had extra is made mention.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's okay. I'm glad that they're not doing the Hollywood thing of like, this gun has infinite bullets, and you don't need to reload, sort of thing that you see in a lot of movies, especially ones that. You know what that came up in the most for me, or like the most recent one I can remember going, well, that's crap. You need to reload those. And it's dumb of me to say because it's not a very serious movie. It's Thor Ragnarok. It's when what's his name has Dis and Troy, and he's fending off all the whoever's attacking them while they're trying to escape the ship.
Oh,
he's
the
got
guy
like
at the
two
end?
yeah, he's got like the 2 ARs and he's just blasting.
Oh yeah.
And I don't remember his name, and I don't remember, like, it's just like Hela's army or whatever that's attacking them while they're trying to get off Asgard.
Yeah.
And, he grabs the guns and goes to town, and he's just going nuts, and I'm just sitting there like, yeah, he needs to reload those at some point. No? Okay. Alright. You know what?
Well,
sure.
He ran out of bullets eventually.
I don't think he did.
He did!
I don't remember him doing it, and the time it took him to run out of bullets was way longer than he should have had to run out of bullets.
I mean, he did run out of bullets, though.
I'll have to watch Ragnarok again.
Well, Love and Thunder's coming out soon, too.
Oh, God.
I can't wait for that movie to come out. I want to see it.
Here's another thing, and I mentioned this in the description of our last episode. We just keep adding. We're not chipping away at our movie list at all. All of the most recent movies that we've watched and made podcasts on are ones that were not on the list that we add to the list because we're like, well, I guess we're gonna watch this movie now. But
yeah, we need to stop doing that. We need to stop adding movies.
Well, next episode at least is one that was on the list for a while.
Yes.
But we'll get to that.
See, the thing is, though, we watched this movie. It wasn't on the list. And we made a podcast about it anyways.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's good that we're making the podcast on it, but the podcast is supposed to force us to watch the movies on the list.
I know. So stop adding movies.
No.
Yes.
It's been 2 out of 3 that have been things that I've added.
Yes.
Yeah. And the other one, I guess, is Audrey's fault, so I can't really be mad at you. But anyway, I wanted to bring it back to the movie for a minute. How it jumps straight into the tension, straight into the basically action sequence. There's almost no time for rest in the whole movie. There's a little bit of time to mourn. There's a little bit of time for Tom Hanks to drink coffee. And other than that, it is just like, when are we going to be attacked again? And it's a relatively short film, but it doesn't necessarily feel short. Not like it drags on, but like you're just wound up the whole time.
I'm so sorry. So sorry.
You're just going like, God, where are they? Where are the U-boats? Where are they? When are they going to attack next? And even when they got to air cover and the destroyers split off, I thought that was leading them to there's going to be another battle. Because I went, oh God, is it over? It isn't over, is it? But no, thankfully it is. The movie ends like 2 minutes after that.
Can we take a moment to talk about the sonar scene?
Which one?
Where the guy, what was it? The guy downstairs and he was repeating it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I forget what it was called. The sonar, right?
Yeah.
The guy downstairs and he was like picking up frequencies and he was trying to figure out what happened when they dropped the fake pellet.
Oh, the decoy.
The decoy, and he was like, they're in the same spot, and Tom Hanks is like, there's no way they're in the same spot.
Yeah.
There's no way we're sitting right under them,
or
they're sitting right under us, just not attacking us.
Yeah, and they wasted a lot of depth charges on that.
They did.
And, the sonar officer, I believe had actually gotten, like, praise earlier in the film. Like, after the first battle, he gave him props specifically. And then, he's, like, kicking himself, and Tom Hanks is like, no, it's fine. It's okay.
It's not your fault. We didn't know what it was.
Make sure all the other fleets know about this. Make sure all the other destroyer commanders,
know about this.
Yeah, get taught about this. The other thing is to bring up like the specific characters that aren't Tom Hanks and Port Cleveland, is that the fellow on the bridge who's like got a cold for the whole movie and is like stumbling over repeating stuff.
Oh
and
yeah, the
whatever.
guy that was repeating back to the sonar.
Yeah, he was carrying the commands or repeating the sonar stuff to the rest of the bridge. Um, Poor guy.
Yeah.
I mean, son of a gun. Like, if you can't do it, you got to recuse yourself. But like, he was trying, and he was like flubbing, and like he clammed up once.
Not really. He wasn't really. He sneezed and that was it.
He did, but he also didn't he have like a moment where he just like wasn't saying anything. I remember him having a couple of moments like that.
Maybe, I don't know.
But poor guy. Just had I don't know why he just I have just an image of him stuck in my mind with his big helmet and big nose.
Yeah.
But all that stuff, all the interactions on the bridge are what sold the movie so much to me. And just like the way that they are, as best as you can in a Hollywood movie, following real destroyer protocol to the letter. And at least you get that payoff scene at the end where all the other transports, the surviving transports and the troop ship are like all waving to him and they're doing job well done.
Oh yeah, and then Tom Hanks just collapsing in his room and sleeping for 3 days.
Yeah, after not having slept for 3 days.
That's a sign of a job well done.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's I think it's a pretty stellar film, and I know we're coming in short on time here, but there isn't a ton to talk about besides like detail and the action sequences. Although there is one thing I still don't understand, which is the very first action sequence, which I guess is supposed to, this moment is supposed to show that Tom Hanks is very like in tune with what he needs to do. When he turns right instead of left, and then gets the confirmed kill on the U-boat. That.
And wasn't it also his first run through?
Yeah, it was his. This was his first mission, and that was his first attack on a U-boat that he's ever done, aside from in training. And I still don't know. Maybe I missed something, and maybe there's something I don't understand about hunting U-boats, which is fair. I'm not a destroyer commander, or a battleship commander, but I don't know why he did that. Okay.
Maybe it did.
Yeah. Because they ended up right over him, I don't know. Maybe it was to keep him just in sonar range because there is a minimum range. I don't know. I wish I knew. And probably somebody out there, probably like East, is going to respond to this and tell me
probably
like what I'm missing. But either way, it worked, I guess. So, you know. The other thing is, there is really a smattering of ships in this convoy, and I never really thought about that. I figured it would be like, oh, here's an oil convoy, or here's a convoy of this kind of ship, or here's a convoy of troops. But it's like,
why are you playing with my elbow like that?
I don't, what?
You were just like rubbing my arm. You felt weird. You were touching my elbow weird.
Your weenus?
Yeah, you were touching my weenus. Why were you touching my weenus?
Anyway. It is just a smattering of different ships. Also, I never knew how many U-boats there were. It says so in the article here. There were 6.
6?
So, yeah. So I don't know how many survived originally.
All I know is that there was a lot of torpedoes.
There were a lot of torpedoes. There was a lot of depth charges. There was a lot of gunfire. There was the moment of the U-boat pulling right up next to them, which was cool. I don't know how realistic, but I do know that, you know, U-boats of this era, they couldn't stay down for very long, and they were more likely to fight on the surface than what people are probably typically thinking of when it comes to submarines, or at least getting close to the surface and using a snorkel. But this is, let's see, what year is this set? 1942. So I don't know how advanced these U-boats were. The sonar is relatively new. Um, yeah, it's I don't know. It's there are some nuances here which I feel like you could pick apart if you really wanted to, but I would hope to think I would hope that if you try to do that, you will be thwarted by the fact that they really did their homework. I would hope, because it sure seems like it. Anyway, it's time for star ratings. So I will go first because I'll leave you with the last words. And I want to give this a 5. My heart says give it a 5 because it tickles me in a very specific way. It's one of those movies that it's like, okay, it's a good movie, but I came into it with a very specific want, and I got everything I asked for, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I came in here like, okay, it's going to be a movie about a convoy. And we got a movie about a convoy where the tension is ratcheted up 5 minutes in, and it's not turned down until the very end. It is great like that. And I also really like the soundtrack. So I'm going to go with my heart, and I'm going to give it 5, even though it probably deserves like a 4.5 or something, because, let's be honest, there are like no characters or anything, but I think it makes up for it. What about you?
I'm going to give it a 4.
You're going to give it a 4? Okay.
I'll give it a 4 because, it's just another war movie. Like, it's just another war movie to me, but it was a good movie. It was very accurate, and, I just had Sabaton playing in the back of my head the entirety of the movie.
It is a ride. It is a ride.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one of those movies where, I mean, it helps to understand the, like, nuances of what's going on in the movie, but at the very least, you can get this, like, very basic understanding of, like, okay, they're under attack by submarines, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't know when they're going to show up. And that just can carry you through the whole movie.
I was very, like, intrigued. It wasn't like I wasn't paying attention. But all I could hear was Wolfpack playing in the back of my head.
Yes.
So.
You asked me towards the end of the movie, like, oh, is that Wolfpack? Is this what Wolfpack is about? And I was like, yes, exactly. You nailed it.
And I was like, okay, so I learned something in the span of watching a movie. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is going to be a shorter episode, but I don't really know what else we have to say. Next episode is on Rent.
Yeah.
Finally, you've wanted to watch that for a while. And the obligatory like and comment and subscribe and that sort of thing. I don't think we've hit 100 subs yet. These don't get too much traction, but hopefully they will someday. So, I've heard that if you just keep making stuff, if you make it, they will come.
Yeah.
And I was going to say something and it's not what I meant. I was going to say I sure came for this movie. And what I meant was, I
think you need to stop talking.
I put in a lot of effort to watch it, is what I meant. I created an Apple TV account just for the free trial, for the 7-day free trial to watch this movie.
And then invited over your dad for
Invited over
dinner.
my dad. We cooked.
They brought dessert.
I set up I had to download the app just for this, and then I deleted it because it was just for this, and had to go cancel my subscription. Anyway, if you have Apple TV Plus, I guess you can watch this. It's pretty entertaining. If you might have gathered, especially if you like war movies. If you don't have Apple TV, go get the 7-day free trial and watch just this movie, and then get rid of the free trial. Anyway.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. You want to watch a movie?
Sure.